When I first came to Christ, I don't know that there was a difference between what God was saying about me and what God was asking from me. I was a teenager, and my parents were going through a pretty messy divorce. And so I didn't have someone around me that I could really trust and lean on to understand what it meant to follow Christ. And I knew that God was calling me to something. I could feel it inside of me, and it was undeniable, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know how to describe it. I barely graduated high school. I was not a good student, and college did not seem like a good choice to me. I joined the Army because that was the thing that I felt like I could do. It felt like that was my only option, and that was my best path forward. My first deployment to Iraq was terrible. There's this sense of isolation, that there's this sense of loneliness, not knowing what tomorrow was going to be. It was losing people that I had got to know, saying goodbye to people who I'd never see again. I really started to minister to my fellow soldiers during my second deployment. I think the thing that caused me to want to start doing that was seeing a need in my own life for that. It seemed like if I can't do anything else, I can at least pray. And so that's what we started to do. When I got out in 2009, I had a desire to be more engaged in ministry than I had been. That's part of what the Army taught me, was management and leadership. If I could be on a ministry team and direct that ministry team, I was going to try to pursue that. And I was looking for authority. I was looking to be in authority. I realized I was sacrificing people. What I hadn't done yet was separated authority and leadership. We were getting to this very low point in our life. It was at that point that I separated the position from what we were supposed to do. And it was, God, use us for ministry instead of, I want to be a pastor. And then we just waited. We desperately needed someone to be with us, to help support us. We're coming out of this incredibly low point in our lives and in our marriage. And we go to visit a friend who introduces us to Steve McVeigh.
When I first met Mark, it was really obvious. I just saw the confirmation of the Spirit that he was not only called into ministry, but that he was supposed to be a part of what we were doing. It was clear to me that he knew the Spirit was talking to him as well, that this was a leap he was supposed to take.
What was supposed to be just a visit with a friend ended up turning into an interview. And so we went back home and we prayed and said, okay, God, if this is where you want us, we need to know really clearly that this is where we should go. And it was really the first time that Sarah and I had taken a major step out in faith. But God paved that for us. And it just became really clear that this was where God was calling us to go. And so we packed up our stuff. We moved from Missouri to Kansas to start our first vocational ministry. Emporia is where our heart is. Planting a church, we chose a missional community model. And we just listened to people, and people were willing to share their hearts. Hearing what needs struck people, what needs people were passionate about, that they saw hurt and they didn't know what to do about it. What are the unmet needs of Emporia? One thing that we wanted to offer people was the chance to serve a community, to embrace people where they are, so they could hear and be transformed by the gospel. As God began to work in my mind and in my heart about what it means to be a pastor, what I realized is that my role is to equip other people to do the ministry. Now, instead of looking at myself as the authority, I submit to God as the authority in every sense. And I look at people And I realized that if my job is to equip the body of believers to do the ministry, then each person who comes through these doors, each person who professes Christ, has a ministry. They have something that they've been called to do. And my responsibility that I love, the thing that I love that I get to do, is look at people and say, how can I help?